Hey guys, and welcome back to another lesson. Today, I'm covering a highly requested skill that many students want to learn as soon as they get into filmmaking, which is how to use a green screen. A green screen, or a chroma key as it's otherwise known, allows you to replace your background with a different background of your choosing. You could transport yourself to the Grand Canyon, or the red carpet, or maybe even out of space. The only limit is your imagination. It's really fun to experiment with this skill when you first learn it, but after you've had some fun, it's important to think about how you can best use it to benefit your course. You don't want to shoot the whole of your course with an imaginary backdrop that is totally irrelevant to the topic, as this will come off as unprofessional and confusing to your students. Instead, choose locations and settings that will add value to your teaching, or which are hard to get to or would be difficult to film in. For your talking headshots, I would actually advise against using a green screen, as it creates extra work in both editing and lighting. You will save time in the long run by creating a proper set for your course, as explained in the last lesson, and it will look much more professional. If you have limited space or an ugly background, a printed screen like my wooden one will look great and make your life much easier. Okay, so here are 5 good reasons you may wish to use a green screen. Number 1. To overlay yourself on top of a visual explanation or screen recording to aid understanding. Number 2, to record in locations you cannot physically get to and which add value to your course. Number 3, to reduce cost. A green screen will usually be less expensive than a printed screen and could reduce the need to purchase additional items for a set. Number 4, to implement creative ideas, either to demonstrate a point or lighten the mood with some humor. And number 5, to ensure consistency if no fixed location can be obtained. You can then record from your bedroom on one day and then your office on another day, but to your audience, they will both look the same. Okay, now you know how and when shooting with a green screen can be beneficial. Here are my top tips. Tip number 1 is to invest in some decent green screen equipment. I have an 8.5 times 10 foot screen here by eMart, which I've been pleased with as it's big and conveniently comes with the frame needed to pin it up. Plus, it also comes with some spring clamps to tighten the screen to the frame and remove any wrinkles. If you're finding that there are still wrinkles when you put it up and tighten it, try leaving it to hang on the frame for a couple of days to let gravity do its thing. If this doesn't work, a quick iron or steam should do the trick. I would also recommend getting some additional clamps, as the 4 it comes with usually aren't enough. If you can't get it absolutely perfect, don't worry too much. Just make sure you experiment with editing your clips to make sure you're able to still replace the background with ease. The last thing you want to do is shoot a whole episode and find the creases can't be edited out. Tip number 2 is to stick with either a blue or green screen. You may find other colors available, but don't be tempted. Green and blue are best as they are the furthest colors from the human skin tone, and green is usually preferred because it's less common in clothing. Either blue or green should be fine, but make sure you choose your wardrobe accordingly, or you'll find yourself disappearing into the background. Moving on to tip number 3, lighting your green screen. It's really important that your green screen is evenly lit across both sides with no harsh shadows or lighting. If one side is brighter than the other, the editing software will have a hard time working out which shade of green to remove, and you could end up with some green areas in your video. The optimum lighting setup for a green screen requires multiple lights, lighting both the screen itself and the subject. This helps the editing software separate you from the background. You can achieve a decent green screen effect using only 3 lights, but you'll need to get creative. I'm using 2 Andoa softbox lights that I'll demonstrate in more detail in the lighting lesson later in the course. These are used to directly light the green screen itself. When setting these up, make sure you watch how the light spills onto the screen and try to light it in a way that removes any shadows. I found the best way is to have your camera set up in the middle with one light either side of the screen to make sure it's evenly lit. Now the green screen is lit, I'm using a newer light with barn doors to light myself. I place it just above the camera to light me front on to help reduce any shadows moving onto the green screen. This way, the shadows should be hidden behind you. If you are shooting in a location with lots of great natural daylight, then this can help even out the shadows of your green screen too. I've decided to keep both the curtains open in addition to having the lights on to help light the green screen to its fullest effect. If you plan on using a green screen for a lot of your course, I would advise investing in as many lights as possible, ideally 5, so you can have 2 lights on the green screen and 3 on your subject. My final tip is to ensure you are positioned far enough away from the screen. If you're too close, the lights will cast stronger shadows and you may get some unwanted green light reflecting off the screen onto your clothes. Both of these will impact the quality of the green screen effect. To avoid this, you should aim to be as far away from the green screen as possible in order to achieve the optimum effect. Okay, so that's it for this lesson on green screen, which is a useful technique for teaching online courses, but does involve some extra preparation time which should be factored in. Make sure to experiment with the green screen and practice editing some clips before committing to using it for the whole of your course. If you do decide to go for it, choose a good quality screen and remove any harsh wrinkles and creases. Then ensure that both the subject and the green screen are evenly lit, and if you have room, are positioned at least 6 feet away from the screen. Make sure to tune into the lesson later in the course where I explain how to edit your green screen clips. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.